You're watching Moms Matter. I'm your host, Shirin Yadigar, and today we're going to talk with Dr. Jessica Zucker, who is a highly acclaimed psychologist and award-winning author who's going to talk to us about the stigma that women face daily that we don't talk about: reproductive health, menopause, miscarriage. All of it is going to be unpacked right here today with Dr. Zucker. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, you have written 2 highly acclaimed books. Both of them are so helpful for women today because sometimes we just stay silent about the things that are eating us up inside. And you decided not to do that. And you've dedicated your life to helping women and then writing about it.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I want to just start with what advice do you give women on how they can open up and stop staying silent to begin the journey?
Yeah, I mean, that's such an important question because there's not like a singular answer, right? It's so unique for each person. But with my patients, I get sort of deep into the roots of where did this come from for you? Is it family dynamics? Is it culture? Is it religious background? Is it a combination of all of it? And really trying to help people understand the complexity of what happens when we keep our important stories tucked away, squished into our bodies and not allowing ourselves to feel the pain of whatever it is that they're dealing with.
The truth is that none of us are perfect. And
far from it.
We want to show our children that too as well, right? We don't want to be perfect moms. We want to show them that life is messy.
Yes.
But sometimes we're trying to clean everything up all the time that we don't even know how to do that.
That's true.
And I know that you write about that. And I'd love for you to share a bit about how we can model that, you know what? No one's perfect. And that's the beauty of life.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. They just see us not being perfect, hopefully. And I think, though, having discussions around imperfection, or maybe it's not that direct. Maybe it's something a kid brings home and they feel, that they did less than their best effort on an assignment, for example. And then maybe we pull in a story of our own. I remember feeling that way when X, Y, and Z. And I think it really then normalizes for them that we can be human. We are, in fact, human. And we can grow. We can learn. We can integrate these things into our future decisions or choices. I think it's important, especially for girls, to understand that perfection is a myth, and it actually can be quite dangerous when we chase it.
Extremely dangerous, but that's why we don't share, right? Because we don't want to show people our imperfections.
Right.
And if more people were willing to share about themselves, about their children, I mean, it just opens up a whole world where we then can find solutions together, right?
And we can be closer with each other. I mean, I think that's the important thing that I get into, especially in Normalize It, my second book that came out in April. We are missing out on emotional intimacy when we walk around pretending that it's all okay, that we feel no pain, that our mental health is, exemplary. It doesn't allow us to get into the nuance of being human together. And when we allow ourselves to lean into what's not perfect and share with other people or share with the world even, we allow ourselves, there's an opening to actually get closer, to find more community, and to actually feel more authentic ourselves.
Yeah, you feel like a huge weight is lifted when you can just be who you are. I mean, now
That's
with
true.
social media too, right? Boom, put a picture up. Everything's perfect. Show them your beautiful life. And you're like, no, it's not that way.
Right.
And why can't we just be a little bit more vulnerable? I mean, it's so much healthier too, because then you get married and you have a partner and you've got to be able to be real.
Yes.
You can't pretend. You can't put this
No,
facade.
they have to know you in order to actually be close.
Right. But I worry so much about this generation and the fact that they're so fragile in so many ways that if you say the wrong thing, it's over, right? If you do the wrong thing, it's over. And I would love some guidance from you, Dr. Zucker, on how we can really, really, like you're saying, have the conversations, but sometimes they don't want to listen.
No, they don't. Well, wait, tell me a little bit more about that fragility. Do you mean because they're on social media themselves or they've grown up feeling a pressure to be perfect? Is that what you're talking
I
about?
think that, and I think it's just the culture today that if you say the wrong thing, you're going to be canceled, right?
Oh,
If you do the wrong thing,
yes.
you're going to be canceled. So they're afraid to speak, right? They're afraid to really share who they are. I mean, this generation, just like ours, in
Right.
a different way, in a different culture, they're afraid.
Oh, that makes me so sad and frankly downright like concerned that they don't feel like they can just be themselves. I mean, you're talking about adolescence.
Yeah, I mean, from the time, for example, now with the world, and you see what's happened with Charlie Kirk, for example, well, wherever you stand politically shouldn't matter,
Right.
right? But they're afraid to say where they stand or to speak at all, right? When
Yes.
if you can't share your opinions and if you can't share who you really are
Yeah.
and you're hiding,
Well, that's what he was killed for, right? So he was trying to do just
correct,
that. And so
correct.
you're right. I think a lot of us are afraid to speak our minds, speak our opinions because bad things can happen. I think that you must be such an incredible mother with your daughters, modeling for them, speaking out about the very things that matter to us most. And I do think that even if it just happens within the context of our homes or with their good friends, that hopefully they will feel a sense of, I'm being true to myself. Even if it's not publicly, even if they're not sharing their views on social media, hopefully they're connecting in a very real way with at least a handful of friends or their families.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, if we can talk about that at home, then hopefully they can find a way to talk to their friends. I mean, I think social media is a whole nother beast on its own, but I'm
I do
talking about
too.
your expertise, human connection, women really being able to be true to who they are. We have so much power to unleash. And how can we unleash that power unless we're being authentic?
Exactly. And I think it really begins by telling our stories. And as you've probably read in my book, I don't expect that people do what I did. After my 16-week miscarriage that happened in the context of my home when I was there by myself, I sort of got on a soapbox and inadvertently, like it wasn't planned. I just was like, I cannot be quiet about such a ubiquitous experience happening to approximately 1 in 4 pregnancies because I was seeing with my patients and in the research that so many people blame themselves. They feel a sense of body failure and they think that maybe they did something wrong. So I just felt like I had to use my own experience to sort of model for women around the world that we need to question this. We need to decide if we want to be quiet about something we had no hand in, right? So, along those lines, I thought, okay, if I help puncture the silence, maybe that helps dissipate the stigma. And maybe ultimately, not in my lifetime, but my aim is to help soften the shame that
And I
so many people walk around with.
Well, I
Yeah.
think your book does do that. And I think to take it a step further too, I think as we get older and we are, at an age where we can no longer get pregnant, and we start going into the next phase of menopause, right?
Yeah.
Which now luckily people are talking about a little bit more,
Yes, for
right?
sure.
But there's so much shame with that too, right?
But why? Why? This is a natural part of life, just like miscarriage is actually a natural occurrence. I mean, albeit a sad one, but that's the thing. And so normalize it takes it all on, from girlhood through menopause and then some. We are learning to be quiet about the very things that make up who we are. So, from the beginning, from menstruation, girls are learning, oh, is this quote unquote bad, dirty, something to be quiet about? Should I lower my voice? Should I smile more? Do I raise my hand less in class? And then we just see this through body image and navigating sex and sexuality, whether people are going through divorce. My book takes on all the tough topics, but why are they so tough? And why is menopause? I get that we're in a boom right now. That's great. But we're in a boom because there was such a lack in the cultural conversation leading up to now. And so people are feeling embarrassed about aging or ashamed of the things that come along with aging. And we want our daughters to know that this is a natural part of life and that there are actually benefits to it.
No, 100%, 100%. I actually sent a group text to all of my daughters saying, I am officially now in menopause. Please be kind to me. Just like the prelude to what may come, what may not come. I don't know. You see these crazy films of people acting crazy when so far that hasn't happened except some like hot flashes,
Right,
but you don't know what's to come because all you know, no one really talked about it. My mom never talked about it. My grandmother never talked about it, right?
Right.
So all you know is media images of people distorting the facts and really giving you whatever they think is funny or sellable. But we are human beings.
Exactly.
And we have so much to talk about and so much to offer, which is why I love that you've written these 2 books. It took so much strength to write this. And I hope that it will inspire other women to really come out and to tell their stories and get on podcasts and write their stories, because then it makes way for so many other women to finally come out and talk about all of this.
And again, when we do, there's a freedom, there's a flexibility, there is a sense of deepening and meaning and connectedness that we just don't find if we remain quiet like culture wants us to. And conversations like these are just so inspiring and allow people, I think, to have a sense of, you know what, this is normal. I should perhaps embrace this rather than try so hard to eschew it, rather than try so hard to put myself down. Putting ourselves down for aging isn't going to make us younger.
That's well said. Well said. Have you seen with a lot of your clients that the anxiety and depression comes along with kind of holding back and not sharing?
Exactly. I mean, and that's why in this book, I try to give a variety of examples of how people can share their pain points. So it doesn't have to be that you get, on a TED Talk stage, you don't have to hop on a soapbox. You can write in a journal. You can sit in a therapist's office. You can whisper in the ear of a neighbor. So it doesn't have to be official. It doesn't have to necessarily be published or public. And I think for many people who think of themselves as introverts or people who just don't want their lives out there, great. But we have to process what we've been through in some way or another. And so I like the example of journaling, even though I'm not a big journaler. I'm a big writer, as you can see. Mm-hmm. But journaling is wonderful because it doesn't require anything. It's a pen and paper, and you can even burn that piece of paper afterward. But the point is, you get it out of your body onto the paper, and there's a sense of validation just in doing that. And then if you're afraid for anybody to run across it or open it up in your room, whatever, get rid of it. But that allows for movement. It allows for you to feel a sense of agency.
And you feel that by doing that, it will help alleviate the anxiety that comes along.
Yeah. I mean, it could actually invoke additional anxiety. Sometimes when we get closer to the pain and we're more honest about it, we have more anxiety initially. I mean, that's partly why I love what I do so much, that I can actually meet them in that moment and help them resolve that. But that's not something that we can get away from no matter how hard we try. So when we try to push down feelings, more anxiety bubbles or more depression bubbles or more disorders bubble. That's when we see addiction and these kinds of things. And so even if it hurts more to talk about it or to allow ourselves to truly feel it, that's okay, right? And then eventually we won't feel that way. I mean, I do think that when we lean into pain, there is the potential for transformation. And even though, again, we don't want to feel deep grief and we don't want to feel deep pain and fear, it's part of life. And again, staving it off does not keep us safer.
No, it doesn't. Definitely doesn't. I think it's important. It's important to grieve. It's important to feel.
It is.
I think one thing that a lot of women who I talk to, my friends and family, we have a hard time with is, okay, you go through a pregnancy, miscarriage, menopause, all the stages of life. And with that comes a lot of different emotion, right? Our emotions are up and down. Sometimes we're feeling a little erratic. And how do we communicate that with our partners in a way where they can listen and help us rather than trying to either fix it or become aggressive towards us, not understand it? We have emotions and hormones.
I mean, this is a tough one because, we can't do the work for them. And I do think that men, it's a whole other topic that I should have taken on in my book, actually.
Book number 3?
Yeah, maybe it's
book
the
next
3. One. Yeah. They've been groomed from the get-go, just like we have been in our own way. They've been groomed to shove the emotions down and to quote unquote fix it. It was really sort of a difficult experience for me after my miscarriage. I write a little bit about that in the book. I wrote about it more in other places, but my husband was terrified. The truth is, he thought he could have lost me that day, and he could have, because I was hemorrhaging at home. And I mean, obviously we got to the doctor as quickly as possible, and then it was clear I would be okay, but he could not lean into the feelings. He's like, the doctor said, you're fine now. And, we found out there was a chromosomal abnormality after they did testing, which for me was helpful because I just at least wanted some sort of, I wanted to know, I wanted to have answers. And I do think that can be very steadying for people. But I felt like he was nowhere to be found, emotionally speaking. And that left me feeling pretty alone. And to feel alone in the context of marriage is rattling when you have felt so close. Months later, he was able to really reflect and say, I was scared to lose you that day. I was too scared to feel my feelings because this was so raw and so intense. And we also did have a 3-year-old, and, so we had to kind of be sure to keep it together on some level. But when I got the call from my OBGYN and found out that I had breast cancer, I turned to my husband within, those first 10 minutes, and I said, we have a choice. You have a choice. Do we want to lean into this together and find a way to sort of get even closer during this trauma that's going to take a while? I mean, of course, I went directly to like the extreme fear, which was like, I might not be here. But are we going to navigate these emotions together? And he's like, I'm on board. Like, of course, like, I want to be here with you. And then it was interesting to see how that unfolded, because he was and he wasn't. And he kind of would come back to me with like, but the doctor said you're going to be fine and you're going to do these things. And so that is cultural conditioning. And I tried to just not take it personally, even though that seems impossible at times. But of course, I know, the love is there. I knew that he was my rock through it all. But it can be very difficult to navigate these kinds of life traumas fully together on the same page, especially when you're parenting, I find, because, you're sort of colleagues in the parenting together, but then you want that intimate connection as well.
Yeah. You have been through 3 pregnancies, 1 miscarriage, breast cancer.
Yes.
And also taking on, that of the emotions of all of your clients who are coming to you to talk to you about everything. I would love for you to look at the camera there.
Yeah.
And to just give your one piece of advice to moms who are struggling with the shame of all of these different facets of life on how they can begin today in this moment to really just let it go. What would be the one thing you could tell them to begin today to change their lives?
Oh, okay. That's pressure. All right. The most important thing I think I can convey is that you are not alone And I know that, is on bumper stickers these days, and mental health is being talked about much more so in the zeitgeist than ever before. And I think that's incredible. But feeling less alone or feeling not alone is very different than knowing you're not alone. And so talk to somebody, whether it's a therapist, it's a trusted friend, it's a family member, somebody that you know understands you and has your back, and have that experience, lean into your vulnerability and really get to have the transformative moment of knowing that you're not alone.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable and writing these books and helping, whoever you can, who comes to you. For everyone who doesn't follow Dr. Zucker, follow her, DM her. She is a wealth of knowledge. And I think the huge message to take home today is that you're not alone and that we need to take care of ourselves first. Otherwise, our entire world is going to plummet from the inside out because we're the mamas and we're the ones who hold it all together.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for helping us. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. We'll see you right here next time on Moms Matter.